Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arteburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, and a happy Valentine's Day to each of you and to the folks that are doing this radio program with me, 1-800-229-3000, to join Dr. Jill Hubbard. Hello, Jill.
Hello, Steve.
And there he is. How you doing?
I'm good.
You doing all right?
There he is.
There I am.
He is.
Yes.
He's right there, headphones on.
Yes.
And he's going to be doing the Emotional Freedom workshop with me and Jackie McHarris. And Jill, you're doing parenting, doing life with adult children with Dr. Jim Burns. And it's all about adjusting our styles for these adult children. But we want to talk about Valentine's Day. Now, you might think that it's romantic that I'm doing a wedding. I'm performing a wedding on Valentine's Day. I do. But I think it's even more significant that I'm going to my heart doctor, my cardiologist, or my heartiologist that I call him. Anyway, you know, it's not a happy day for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
And Larry Sonnenberg and I, we do talk every now and then. We were just talking and about how difficult it is for some people to buy a Valentine card today. And they probably have to cross stuff out because they've been betrayed.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've got this Restore workshop coming up. And if you're a woman and it is hard for you to think of what that Valentine card should say, I think Restore could do some miraculous things in your life. And we're going to be doing that, not this weekend, but next weekend in Orange County. And I really, really hope that you would go. Please go.
And Steve, Valentine's Day, unfortunately, is a day where people get careless. And so a lot of people find out things and find out about betrayals and things around Valentine's Day.
Well, and it's also just this stark reminder, if we've been through a betrayal, a broken-hearted experience, Valentine's Day sort of puts the broken heart in our face.
It does.
And that's, I think, the really important aspect of Restore this weekend and why it's so critically important. Because as a betrayed person or a person where harm has come unto me, it's not fair that I have to go do something about that harm. Right?
Absolutely.
But there's no way around it.
Yeah.
And so if you're carrying that broken heart today, the best Valentine's Day you can give to your own broken heart through betrayal is the Restored workshop.
Absolutely. It's to love yourself enough,
Yes.
not to believe the betrayer, right?
Yes.
To love yourself enough to go get some support and help.
Yes.
Well, if you're a woman, we can help you with a broken heart. Now, if you're the one who broke that heart, you might have, or probably do have, a divided heart, and we can help you heal that also at Every Man's Battle. Here's the thing. It's one thing to talk, it's another thing to do, to put action behind the desires and the thoughts. The Bible says if you know something is right and you don't do it, then, you know, that's wrong to not do what you know is right. We all fall into that. We all do it. We all mess up. But if that pertains to something so huge that every day of your life is impacted by not doing the work, doing the healing, come to Restore. Please. We'll talk more about that after this. 1-800-229-3000. Saint Valentine. You know what he's known for? Valentine's Day. Anyway, we'll talk more about that after this. 1-800-229-3000. I do hope you'll make the best of whatever situation that you're in. We'll be back.
I'm 433 pounds.
How long have you weighed that much?
I've probably been over 300 at least 15, 20 years. I'm 39. Feel like I've just been a failure in every area of my life.
Does this sound like your story? It doesn't have to. If you want to live free of obsessions and compulsions in your eating habits, New Life's Lose It for Life online workshop can help. This online workshop features a one-day Zoom session presented by Steve Arteburn on Saturday, March 18th, plus breakout sessions led by a credentialed New Life Network counselor. Fitness expert Michelle Spadafora will lead exercise sessions, plus you'll receive exercise gear to allow you to start a home fitness routine you'll actually enjoy. If you're finally ready to stop going from diet to diet and begin a comprehensive plan that addresses the psychological, emotional, and spiritual aspects of a healthy lifestyle, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or go to newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arteburn here with Chris Williams, Dr. Jill Hubbard. And you know, there's a great scripture I want to read to you. It's perfect for today. There are, 1 Corinthians 13:13. And now, these three things remain: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. And after you've been betrayed, you know, it feels horrible, and especially more than once. But you can take that betrayal pain, love yourself enough to get around healthy people, healthy church, healthy counselor, deal with whatever it is. Now, I'm talking about betrayal. I was betrayed. Mm-hmm. And so I know men are betrayed also. And if you are, you could join us for Emotional Freedom. We'll help you with that deep grief, pain, agony. It's horrible for us guys because usually people think of things in just the opposite gender form. Mm-hmm. All right, let's go. Well, let's go to David, Allentown, Pennsylvania. David, how are you today, and what is on your mind? I'm trying to bring you up here, but there you go. What's on your mind, David?
Well, I just wanted to say that for us guys, we're also hurting. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We also have been betrayed.
Right.
I know that there seems to be more of a spot for females, but there's a lot of guys hurting and they don't want to talk about it because we're the macho kind of person. Mm-hmm. But to be honest with you, I talk to a lot of guys. A lot of guys have been hurt. Yeah. So I just wanted to put that up.
Yes, and I'm one of them, mm-hmm. and I'm not a victim, but I tell you, it was so painful, and I discovered fear was a big part of that pain. So if you are a guy, it might not even be that you're betrayed. It just might be that you're married to somebody who doesn't want you, rejects you. That's pretty painful too. I think it's important, and thanks for reminding us, David. I'll send you a one-year Bible for men if you'll just hold on for bringing this up. But I do think this. I think it's really important on these tough days that we try to get with somebody else.
Yes.
And get through the day, mm-hmm. and maybe even get through the day stronger.
Well, and you know, I like to take the emphasis off of romantic love.
Yes, yeah.
Because it's like it doesn't have to just be relegated to that. I love lots of people.
Yeah.
I was up late last night preparing all my little Valentine gifts for people that I care about. And so I use it to be a day of expressing love to all kinds of people.
Even in what you're wearing today.
Oh,
it was so.
I told you I'm very thematic.
Yes, it looks amazing.
Always
it looks great, but it's like it emanates just that, Jill, is that you're a person of love, spreading love in the world. Yeah.
You can see that on the YouTube channel, New Life Live YouTube channel,
well, you
right
don't
there.
get the full effect, but okay.
You really don't. Let's go to Todd, Tampa, Florida, WAVA. That is where he's calling from. Hi, Todd. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. I was hoping you could help me with some confusion. I'm wondering what kind of therapy I should do, but I don't know if I have trauma or sexual abuse. I'm not sure. I'll need to probably share that with the therapist in the future. But
what happened to you? What was it that happened to you? And it's hard to hear you if you're on a weird kind of connection. If you could become normal, that would be great. But we can hear you. But what did happen to you early on?
Maybe you can hear me better now.
Oh, that is much better, Todd. What happened to you early on?
So I was I had this memory of me being an infant on the living room floor. And there's like a mobile over my head, like one of those things a child looks up at. And then this man walks by and kicks the mobile as he's storming past by accident, of course. And he's going back to the room where my mother is, and they're going to have a fight or an argument. And when he kicks the mobile, it's like I have an outer body experience, and I have a third person perspective. I see myself on the floor looking up, and I see the man storming out away from me, and maybe that's just like a vision or something of my dad leaving me at an early age. I mean, he was in my life on like weekends and stuff, but they were separated. Okay. And then he came back into the relationship. Thank you.
All right. So let's start with Jill, and let's talk about this because, whether it was a real thing, a perceived thing, whatever, it's real now, and it's impacting you.
Well,
Jill, what do you think?
You're telling us, Todd, it is true that your dad left. Mm-hmm. What's your relationship like with him now?
It's challenging. He's an alcoholic right now, and he isolates and he shouts verbal obscenities and abusive things throughout the house when he's isolated, and it's just like, I hate all of you kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Just things he thinks is just
And
so.
Yeah, and do you know the narrative from your mother's perspective? Like, have you shared this vision with your mom?
No, she passed away when I was 23 with cancer, and my dad came back into my life when I was 11 after 2001, September 11th, and then it was like really conflict in our house because I was the man of the house at that time. Here's another piece of the sexual abuse possibly. I used to wet the bed, so I would put on clean clothes and I would go lay in bed with my mother, and then one night I was, I don't know, 10 or something, and puberty was happening, and that happens in the night. I don't think I should share this over.
Okay. Yeah. You don't.
Okay.
Something possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something happened.
Sorry, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
No,
okay.
You're good. Yeah. You're good. So, Todd, you have been through a lot. Mm-hmm. You've been through abandonment. You've been through hurt. I think that vision of a baby, an infant. When I think of my own sons, as infants, I want to care for them. I want to protect them. I want to nurture them. I want to play, and be a part of their lives, but most importantly, provide them a deep sense of safety and security in the world. And a baby on their back is in an incredibly vulnerable position, looking at a mobile, and the kicking of the mobile is like the world.
It's like a symbolic memory, right? That really overarches all of your experiences.
A metaphor that, Todd, you were unfortunately not born into a safe family,
right?
With safe people. And that has deep, deep impacts on us. Mm-hmm. That creates later in life a tremendous sense of anxiety that I'm not safe in the world, the world's not safe, a sense of shame, there must be something wrong with me. That all leads up to depression as well, a sense of hopelessness, helplessness. And so, Todd, if you're experiencing all of those, all I have to say to those, I don't like it, but I say yes, that those are real and true experiences. And yes, you're asking the absolute right question. Mm-hmm. What do I do about it? And that's what you want to do about it, is you want to seek out a therapist in your area, a really strong therapist in your area that does trauma therapy. And as a trauma therapist, let me give you a hint on
And that is attachment oriented.
Exactly,
too.
yeah.
Right.
Is that this is a person that you want to feel very safe with, that you trust, and that will help you get into your story and help you heal through the details of it.
Yeah. And it's hard to explain how it really all works, but there is such a burden in secrecy and silence, and then confusion, not really clear because you don't spend a lot of time thinking about it. It just hits you, and you don't want to think about it, but that's what can really help you, is get some clarity, and then you go through a grieving process and with comfort and wisdom. And it's not easy to do that on your own.
And Steve, I know this circles back to our workshops, but I want to mention this just for a moment, because what our pain needs first is the truth of it, but before benevolent witnesses, people that can hold it well. And the power of what we offer in these workshops is just that. People to hold the pain and hold the things that we're scared and terrified of revealing and seeing and working through, to do that really well in a safe and secure environment where we can then have the courage and the wisdom to start working through it.
All right. Well, let me send you a couple of things. I'd like to send you Healing is a Choice. I think Sherry's book, Intimate Betrayal, can also help, because she really weaves in the whole trauma aspect of it. I'll send that to you. Hope and Pray, something we've said has been helpful. Now, if you go to a certain church, they're going to tell you, get a good counselor. In fact, go to our counseling center or whatever. If you go to another church, they say, well, you just have to forgive that and move on. That's not healthy. That's toxic. Don't listen to that. You deserve to get the help. People say, don't deal with the past, just move on. Well, if the past is seeping into your present, it's not really the past. 1-800-229-3000. That's the number to join us. Be here for a couple hours here on Valentine's Day. 1-800-229-3000. And now let's go to Londa, Louisville, Nebraska. KCRO. Hi there. How are you?
Hi, I'm just great. It's so good to hear you all. I appreciate you all so much.
Well, thank you.
My question has to do with making an amend toward my adult daughter, who is now 35. She was estranged from me for about 5 years. We've reconnected now for over a year, but it's primarily through text. And she didn't say what that estrangement was about, but just that she was very sorry. And so I took your course in adult children. I'm a follower of 12-step, and I use your resources in those. But she texted about that she did not have the childhood she deserved. And I want to look at that from any part that I may have played in that, and how do I handle that, and my part that I played in that. Her father and I divorced, and in going back to work, I made her responsible sometimes for the care of her older brother who has special needs.
Okay.
And I think she thinks she didn't have the freedom that her friends did, to go out and do, and that's the part that really hammers into my heart about that. And I just, I've taken classes even on being a better listener. I felt our relationship is growing, and I'm letting her take the wheel on that.
Okay. So we want to give you some good advice here. Good news is she told you. She told you, here's the problem. Whether it is the biggest problem or whether she's exaggerating or very realistic, doesn't matter. She told you, and now you have a chance to respond. And I want to hear from, when we get back, from Jill and Chris. But it seems to me the first response would be, ever since you sent that to me, I have not stopped thinking about how you did not have a childhood that maybe was like your friends or that you deserved. I wish it had been better for you. Now, you're weighing that against the fact that, you know, you do what you have to do in a family. Everybody pitches in and all of that. But we'll talk about how to nuance that, because we're not supporting that everybody needs to be comfortable and only do the things that make them feel comfortable, because people do need to be part of a family solution when there's a problem. We'll talk about that right after this. 1-800-229-3000.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle Workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is coming to Dallas, Texas, March 3rd through the 5th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com.
I just can't say enough of what New Life has done for our marriage.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I've been listening to New Life for many years, gone to a few workshops. I want to support a ministry that helps people connect with God and with others and gives them the tools to help transform their lives.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of all 8 100-day devotionals, including 100 Days of Healing, 100 Days from Freedom from Shame, and 100 Days of Freedom from Anger. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, discounts on workshops, and quarterly online meetings with Steve. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Of course, we're talking with Londa about her kids, her daughter. And I don't know if anybody knows this or not, but raising kids is very tricky. So it's tough. And here she is holding a resentment, separated over that as the excuse. What do you think, Chris? Let's start with you.
Well, to build
this
on...
isn't a time to teach a lesson here. It's a time to... Yeah. What should she do?
She's 35.
Yeah. Well, and I think that what you've said, Steve, is Londa, what you want to be careful of is that you're saying, I think she fill in the blank. So we don't want to write stories for them. That's really important, especially when there's absence. Mm-hmm. Absence creates blank pages, and we typically write bad stories on those, right? So what you want to be able to do is just simply ask her about her experience. Jill was talking to me at the break, and it's like their experience may be different than yours. Their facts may be different, but you want to, Jill's wisdom to me was you want to avoid correcting their facts. You just want...
Okay.
And it's the hardest thing ever. I don't always succeed at it.
Totally,
Just ask my daughter.
Yes. I don't want to feel like I'm having to defend.
No, and you don't. What you want to be able to do, and you're saying you're doing some stuff on listening, you want to attune to her heart. Listen to her heart. Listen to the disappointments or the pains or the heartache, and reflect that back to her and just say, that is tough.
Yeah, you're reflecting back her story. So this is her story, her perspective, how it felt to her. And you really, it's like you want to get behind her eyes and really understand what it was like for her. Okay, so that's where you have to detach yourself a little bit from your story.
Yes.
This isn't about your story. This is about her experience.
And Londa, if you're carrying any of your own sense of shame or guilt, that's actually gonna get in the way. Okay, because we understand you probably did the best that you possibly could in the moment that you did it, knowing that it was highly imperfect.
Yes.
Right? And so there's grace for yourself in that it didn't go all the way that you wanted it to, or you didn't show up the way that you wanted to. And we get all that when when we own that for ourselves and say, yes, I even grieve myself in this, but I also want to protect myself from the shame of it. To say that I'm a bad mom and I'm a worthless person and I don't deserve love. And none of that's true. It's just that I showed up with my own broken heart, and it probably wasn't enough for you, daughter.
Well, also, go ahead, Joe.
Londa, we know that none of us get an ideal childhood. If we had all had the perfect childhood, then what? But actually, some of these things really, like, we need them. We need the imperfection to grow and develop character. So as much as it's a hurt, it's also a necessity in life.
That's good,
right?
Joe.
So that's important to remember. And it's okay to say, I'm so sorry that I didn't know what else to do but to ask you to help. I'm so sorry I had to put you in that position.
But it might not be the thing that hurts her. Right. We don't.
You have to listen first.
So you could do this. You could say, I think of so many things that you were asked to do, tough. There were things I regret in growing up because, man, I blew it all the time. But what are the things that have hurt you the most? Yeah. And then she tells you, and then you say, oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, that must really hurt.
Yes.
And if it's appropriate, you ask for her forgiveness.
Yes.
Can you forgive me?
Yes.
Will you forgive me?
Yes.
All right. Well,
you're going to do great, Londa.
Yeah. I'll send you Jim Burns' book, Doing Life with Our Adult Children. I think that will help you. And for you, let me send you Healing is a Choice, a great, great book that's got some wonderful choices. And we don't necessarily experience physical healing here on earth, but this book helps you have whatever healing is available by making these choices to forgive, choice to grieve, things like that. 1-800-229-3000. 1-800-229-3000. That is the number to join Chris Williams, Dr. Jill Hubbard. Let's go to John, Little Elm, Texas. And John, when I think of Little Elm, Texas, I think of the town square, and there's a little elm tree right there in the middle, but I bet that's not true. How are you?
Well, I'm fine. How are you?
Good. What's going on in your life, and how could we help?
Well, I just wanted to comment, kind of, because, one time in my life, I did have a girl that probably had quite a few affairs on me, and I felt bad. I felt terrible. So I had to sit down and think to myself, why do I feel so bad? What is up? And what I've realized was, whether you're a guy or girl, we give all of ourselves to our spouse, everything, our whole love, our whole everything. And I realized to myself, you can't do that, because then there's no room for yourself. And that's why I felt so bad. So even though it might sound a little greedy, but I thought to myself, you know what? I have been given one life by God. One life. And I am going to enjoy it. And if you want to come with me as my partner, you can. But if you don't want to, don't tell me I can't go. And that's where why I've stayed married 34 years, I think, is because...
John, hold on. The music's playing. I've got to go. But you're bringing up some really interesting perspectives here that I want to talk to you about. I think all of us do. So hold on. You're listening to New Life Live. Be back after this break. 1-800-229-3000. We'll be back after this. 1-800-229-3000.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. Chris Williams on coaching.
Oftentimes I get asked, what is the difference between therapy and coaching? The biggest difference between the two is that a therapist is going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a New Life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arteburn here. We are talking with John, and John was talking about, you can't give all of yourself. You won't have anything left for you. And Chris, when you were hearing this, what were you thinking?
Well, I think that John has some really good things to share, and it's this. Is that Paul talks about this actually in the Bible quite a bit, and that marriages even have these planned times apart. Mm-hmm. And it's good to be apart. It's good that we really, really maintain that strong sense of ourself and who we are as we build life together. Now John said something I think I'm not sure if I understood his or misunderstood his intention, but it's like, well, I'm going to go do my life, and if you want to join me, fine. If you don't, that's okay too. That's also a little bit more of the extreme end of the sense that it is selfish.
You could take it to an extreme.
You could take it to an extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas marriage is about building common relationship and common life together, which requires tremendous amount of wisdom and nuance to figure out throughout the course of life in the different seasons and iterations, what's me and what's you and what's us. Mm-hmm. And it's really important to maintain that.
Yeah, because some people have this attitude of, this is the way you married me. This is the way I'm going to be. Now, you just adjust to that. I don't necessarily think that's what you're saying, John, but I think you're saying, Chris, that's what we need to avoid. Jill, your thoughts here.
Well, John, I think that you do have some wisdom to offer, and I heard you say you've been married 34 years. Mm-hmm. So I like the idea of not giving up yourself and being so lost in a relationship that other person becomes like an idol.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's not a good place to be, and it sounds like that's where you found yourself before. So in marriage, I'm hoping that in all that you said, you've learned the art of compromise, and that there's times when she goes along with you and there's times when you go along with her, and you both get some of what you want.
Yeah, good point. So I would just be sure that the marriage hasn't lasted for all these years, over 30 years, because you've just demanded that you're going to do things your way and have your time, and she's just acquiescing and following along. It's a great thing to leave this conversation and just ask her, Am I too overbearing? Am I too demanding? And if she says, and you believe it to be true, no, you're amazing and wonderful, and I'm glad you get to do the things that bring life back into you, then you're good. I do know this, though. Ephesians 5:20 says, submit yourselves one to another out of reverence for Christ. And then there are about 40 words in the translation I have on a woman submitting, followed by over 100 words to a man to die to himself. So there has to be some 2 words, start with A, accommodation and adaptation. I need to accommodate her, and I need to adapt some of me to her. And if both people are doing that, works out pretty well. I will send you the book that I wrote with Fred Stoker on mutual submission. It's called Every Man's Marriage, and I think it will be very, very helpful to you. All right, Larry Sonnenberg's in the studio. Larry, what do you think would be helpful to me?
We don't have time, Steve.
Okay. Well, we'll just skip that for today.
And remember, he's going to the heart doctor
Yeah,
today,
that's
so
true.
You don't want to.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
cardiologist. All right, so what do you have for us, Larry?
Well, in this preparation for the Restore workshop next week, Jill has a testimony that she's going to read for us.
Okay.
Excellent.
Before I came, I was stuck riding the merry-go-round of pain, darkness, no hope, feeling sick and trapped. I was trying to survive on my own, but sinking more and more into depression and numbness. This workshop has been so freeing, finding other women who share my same pain, and learning how to claim truth for myself from God has changed me. I see now I have hope, and I understand God's love and grace for me. I am leaving with hope and support, assurance and understanding of who God says I am and how he sees me. I am not crazy. I'm not lost. I am not alone, and I'm not at the end.
Wow.
Excellent. Yeah. Ooh.
You know what?
That's what we're looking for.
She used the word hope a few times in
Yep.
there,
Mhm.
and I just want to appeal to you ladies who have no hope right now, and you're just not sure anything could change. This woman is an example of what happens there. God's Spirit jumps in and makes changes. And,
Sure does.
We really want you to be there. And folks, we want you to support this ministry for what happens with what we get involved with. We don't get all the credit. We get credit for setting the stage. God's Holy Spirit does the work. And I just want to thank everybody who is supporting. And if you haven't supported, do it the first time. Give us a call today.
Okay, so here's my analogy. You're a disciple. Jesus is standing there. You haven't caught any fish. What you're doing, where you are, it's not working. And then Jesus, who absolutely knows what he's talking about, says, hey guys, throw the nets on the other side. Now imagine if the disciples had said, you know what? We have been fishing on this side for years, and it always happens. Eventually, if we come back enough, it's going to happen. So I think it might be, I know you're a good guy, but I think it might be better if we didn't follow your advice and just stuck with what we know about this lake. What a sad thing. So here you are, you're over on that side of the boat, and nothing is working for you, and we're telling you, a lot of people have cast their net over into working with us, going to Restore, and they've experienced transformation. And I want you to, in fact, here's the deal. Larry, I will pay somebody to come. So the next 10 women that sign up, I will pay $100 each of their coming. That's how much I want you. It's not much, it's $100. So, but maybe that just shows you how much I believe that you're going to call me, write me a letter, long one, and say thank you for encouraging me to go, because it's going to change things for you.
Steve, New Life has a scholarship fund, and if $100 is not enough for somebody, we can still give more money to help somebody come.
Yeah. All right, 1-800-NEW-LIFE, or go to newlife.com, but sign up, come, and receive the bonus scholarship from Steve, and we can help you in a bigger way than that.
Thank you.
All right. God bless you. Thank you, Larry, for coming. It's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now, we're going to be in the studio for an hour and 20 minutes more, and you could be part of that program, the end of this one or that one. 1-800-229-3000. That is the phone number, 1-800-229-3000. Let's go to Susie from Dallas, Texas. And, of course, she listens, as anybody can, on the Internet. Hi, Susie. How are you today?
I'm hanging in there. Thanks for taking my call.
Great. How can we help?
So the reason for I'm in a quandary over wanting to make the most godly decision with regard to a young niece-in-law that I don't know very well. And she got caught in a conversation that I initiated with my nephew over some inappropriate behavior that he did toward my daughter when he was 12 and my daughter was 5 years old. The children now are 20 and 28 or 27, and so lots of years have passed. There has been processing within our family over the trauma that was caused. He was addressed back then by my husband, although his parents say that he denied any of that. And long and the short of it is, time has moved on, and I recently had a bonfire gathering at my house where, out of an abundance of wanting to include this new member of our family, they live in another state about 5.5 hours away. I extended this invite to this young new niece-in-law, never expecting them to come, but lo and behold, they show up. And my daughter opts not to come to this family gathering because the nephew was there. Are you tracking? Am I making sense?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when the young couple show up, my daughter opts not to be there, and I hear the music. But the bottom line is, as a mom, I talked it over with her dad. We thought if the opportunity presents itself while we're at this gathering, we'll broach the subject and maybe try to get young nephew or 28-year-old nephew to maybe apologize to our daughter and somehow come to a resolution. And what's happened instead is...
Hold on. I got to go. The break's going to happen. We'll be back right after this.
We have been estranged off and on for 10 years or more, and he has a lot of grievances and anger and bitterness and hatred toward me.
Our daughter is the problem. She said, I don't want to be in your life right now.
Hi, Steve Arteburn here. Courageous Parents, Transforming Relationships with Your Adult Sons and Daughters. It's an online workshop with Dr. Jim Burns, Dr. Jill Hubbard, and me. I think it will change the way you see your adult children.
I was never prepared for doing life with my adult children. Some of our kids bumped and violated values that we never dreamed they would, and there's some principles that we can talk about.
With insightful teaching and the guidance of a credentialed New Life counselor, this one-day online workshop, Saturday, April 1st, will provide practical advice and hopeful encouragement for navigating the parent-adult-child relationship. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to register or to find out more.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 steps power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. 1-800-229-3000. That's the phone number to join us now or in the next hour. 1-800-229-3000. Susie, we've got some thoughts for you here. Just a quick question. Did you ask your daughter before you invited him or said, yes, please come? Or did you just not for whatever reason?
I invited the new young wife. I did not invite the nephew. And when I did, I invited with never expecting them to show up because they live 5.5 hours away and they're a young family in the military.
Wait.
Yeah.
This new niece-in-law is the same nephew's wife?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I missed that.
So, and I'm just like, what's the motivation to inviting her and not him?
She's a nice young girl. My motivation was to show her that I was including her in our family, just wanting to be nice. That the motivation was really.
But did you think she would come without him to his family?
I didn't think they would come at all.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was a gesture, and
Gotcha.
she actually declined in the open invite, and then side messaged me and said, "Hey, I didn't want anybody at home to know we were coming, but we're going to come." And just like I have siblings in other states, I invited them to let them know that there was a family thing going on, just to know that they were included and thought of. That's all there was behind that.
Okay.
And so...
Yeah. So let us give you a little bit of help here before we have to close out the program. What are you folks here thinking, Jill and Chris?
Can I go back to what's the question for us?
Yeah.
How can we help you?
The question is, I opened up the can of worms. I spoke to, in looking at them as a union of one, I pulled them aside at one point and said, hey, my daughter is not here, your cousin is not here because you are here. And I'd like to clear the air because I want us all to be closer and put this behind us. And the nephew said, I don't know what you're talking about. And the niece then post that was like, I need to know more. I can't stop thinking about it because I said, back when you were 12 and Kellen was 5, my daughter was 5, and the nephew said, I don't know what you're talking about. And I had opened up this can of worms, and there I was.
All right. We need to give you some...
The niece followed up by saying, I can't stop thinking about this. Please tell me.
Okay. So we want to give you accurate direction. We feel for you that this has happened and it's uncomfortable, but let us give you some really direct thoughts here about the situation and maybe a way to repair it.
Okay.
I think first, if you haven't done so already, you need to apologize to your daughter for including them, right? And yes, you were trying to do something nice, and that is a nice thing, but clearly the air has not been cleared up on this. There's been no resolution. Excuse me. And
I have done that. I have apologized.
Okay. And so now your nephew's wife is involved. I mean, I don't like family secrets, so in some ways you kind of pulled the covers off the family secret, and now she and him are going to have to deal with this. But he's never really owned this behavior.
Correct.
Right? And you're telling us his parents never owned it either. So he never got help. So I think it's a little naive to think that he will just own it now and apologize for it to make it.
With the exception of there was a conversation. He said some things about his chaplain and talking with his chaplain, and I got misled thinking he was more mature at this point than he apparently really is.
Okay.
Well, let's bring in some wisdom here, because obviously at a family event, pulling this very, very sensitive information out from under the rug in that setting is probably not the best or safest way to do it. Not to, and again, I don't mean to pile on, but
yeah,
because for me, this is a situation that is between him, your daughter, obviously yourself as well, because of the age in which it happened. Mm-hmm. And so I really think that there needs to be an invitation into a third-party process, a good therapist that understands trauma, understands the dynamics, and that can help you guys navigate these conversations and potentially invite him into the conversation. You know, because it's really important that it be addressed. Mm-hmm. But it's also very
your intentions are good.
Yeah, because she was 5, he was 12. It's really complicated in that. But he needs a safe place to be able to do it. But your daughter needs safety as well.
So you made an assumption that he was dealing with it with the chaplain. You made an assumption that he's told his wife about it. And you made the assumption that he would tell your daughter he's sorry. And I think you made the assumption your daughter would be okay with him showing up. Now, it's either you made some false assumptions, or there might have been, unconsciously or so, an agenda that no matter what, you wanted this dealt with. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. He's always denied it. I don't know how this is going to impact their marriage, because, you know, there is this thing about some things that were so long ago. It was a long time ago. I would have had a private conversation with him, and I would have said, hey, you denied this. You still deny it. Does your wife know? She needs to know. My daughter's hurting still. She needs an apology. I would have had that kind of conversation, giving him a chance to respond to me being sensitive to him. Also, I would have had a private conversation with my daughter. How would you feel? And I think she would probably say, I wouldn't feel good about any of this happening. I want you to tell them not to come. Might have been her response. You have to honor the daughter's wishes, but you don't know the wishes until she tells you. So I know that might be tough to hear, but often we have to stop long enough to consider all of the little tentacles that come out of whatever it is we're wanting to happen. I hope that's helpful. I'm going to send you a copy of Every Believer's Thought Life. I think it'll help you with some of this. Anybody else, you can get it at New Life, 1-800-NEW-LIFE, newlife.com. A gift of any amount. We send you 100 Days to Freedom from Shame. We've talked about the wonderful Restore Workshop. It isn't to restore your marriage. That might happen, but it's to restore you. And I hope that you'll call us, let us help you with that, because we've seen so many people that thought there was no hope for a life free of pain, trouble, turmoil. We've seen them have freedom, and we want that for you. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And then, don't forget, it's Valentine's Day. The greatest thing is love. God is love. Great day to ask a question. Am I a loving person? If you need help with loving, call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. See you next time.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.